All right, today we're going to talk about one of the most incredible biological machines you'll ever own, your eye. Seriously, this thing is so complex, it makes the most advanced camera in the world look like a toy.
So have you ever really thought about it? How does a simple ray of light become, well, everything you see? It's this remarkable journey that starts with light and ends up as a fully formed picture inside your brain. Let's follow that journey, step by step.
Okay, our trip begins right at the very front of the eye. It's literal window to the world. Before we can see anything at all, light has to get inside. And that first step is actually way more complex than you might think.
So, check this out. The path that light takes is incredibly precise. First, it hits that transparent outer layer. That's the cornea. Then it goes through that dark opening in the center, the pupil. From there, the lens grabs it and focuses it, aiming it perfectly at its final destination, this light-sensitive screen at the very back of the eye, which we call the retina. Let's break down how each part works.
First things first, before your eye can even think about focusing an image, it has to control how much light gets in. I mean, too much is totally blinding and too little is, well, just darkness.
The absolute star of this show is the iris. Yep, that's the part that gives your eyes their color. But it's not just for looks. It's actually a super powerful ring of muscle. In fact, it's two sets of muscles that work against each other to control the size of your pupil. It works just like the aperture on a camera.
And you can see that process right here. In dim light, the pupil is wide open, we call that dilated, to let in as much light as it possibly can. But in bright light, it squeezes down to a tiny little dot to protect the delicate sensors inside. This is that automatic reflex you feel every single time you step outside into the sunshine.
So how does that actually work? Okay, think of it like a drawstring bag. When you're in bright light, these circular muscles contract, pulling that drawstring tight and shrinking the pupil down. At the exact same time, the other muscles, the radial ones, they relax. It's this simple, really elegant action that prevents your retina from getting totally overwhelmed.
Now, in dim light, the complete opposite happens. This time, the radial muscles contract, pulling the pupil open wide, while those circular muscles just relax. It's this beautiful little system of opposing forces. One pulls while the other lets go, and it's all designed to give you the best possible vision no matter what the lighting is like.
Okay, so we've got the right amount of light coming into the eye, fantastic. But just a blob of light isn't an image, right? The next job, and this is absolutely crucial, is to focus all that light into a perfectly sharp picture.
This amazing process is called accommodation, and it's all about changing the shape of that flexible, kind of jelly-like lens inside your eye. The key players here are the ciliary muscles and these little suspensory ligaments that hold the whole thing in place.
So when you look at something up close, like the text on your phone, your ciliary muscles actually contract. This action loosens the tension on those little ligaments, and that allows the flexible lens to just bulge out and get fatter. A fatter, more curved lens bends light more sharply, which is exactly what you need to bring a nearby object into sharp focus.
And what about for looking at something far away? Well, your ciliary muscles relax, which then pulls the suspensory ligaments tight. This tension yanks on the lens, pulling it thinner. A thin lens, you guessed it, bends light less, and that brings distant objects into perfect focus. This is happening constantly, all day long, without you even thinking about it. We've controlled the light, we've focused it, so now what? The light has finally reached the retina at the back of the eye, and this is where the magic really happens. This is where light energy gets converted into electrical signals that your brain can actually understand.
The retina is basically your eye's digital sensor. It's just packed with millions of these photoreceptor cells, and they come in two very distinct types. You've got rods and you've got cones, and each one has a very, very specific job.
What's so fascinating is that you essentially have two completely different vision systems built into one eye. Your rod cells, they're your night vision specialists. They are incredibly sensitive to even the dimmest light, but they only see in black and white and can't pick out fine details. Your cone cells, on the other hand, are your daytime artists. They need bright light to work, but in return, they give you this rich world of color and super sharp detail.
So here's the crucial takeaway. Your super detailed color vision is all concentrated right in the center of your retina. But your low-light night vision is handled by the rods scattered all around the edges. This is why, and this is a cool trick, if you want to see a really faint star at night, you should actually look slightly away from it. Doing that lets its dim light fall on those super sensitive rod cells in your peripheral vision. Seriously, try it next time. So far, the eye seems like this perfect piece of engineering, right? But it has one tiny little design flaw, and the way your brain deals with it is frankly mind-blowing.
Believe it or not, every single one of us has a blind spot in each eye. It's a small area on your retina where the optic nerve, think of it as the big data cable to your brain, is physically plugged in. And on that exact spot, there are absolutely zero rods or cones.
The reason is just simple mechanics. The nerve has to get out of the eyeball somehow, and it basically punches a tiny hole through the sensor layer on its way to the brain. So any light that lands directly on that spot, your eye technically can't see it. So why don't we see a constant black hole in our vision all the time?
And here it is, the big reveal. Your brain is a master illusionist. It constantly takes in the information from all the surrounding photoreceptors, and it simply fills in the gap. It makes a really educated guess about what should be there and just paints it into your reality so seamlessly that you never even know the hole exists.
Which leaves us with a final, kind of powerful thought. Your vision feels like this perfect, direct window onto reality. But it's not. It's a construction. It's an elaborate story being told to you by your brain. And if it's so good at hiding a physical hole in your vision, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is your perception of reality hiding from you?